Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a spoiler-free review of one of the most anticipated movies of the year, Joker, Folie à Deux. If you're here, you're probably as curious as I was about how this film stacks up against the first, whether it delivers on the hype, and most importantly, what makes this sequel truly stand out. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything major, but we'll take a deep look at the film's tone, performances, and everything you need to know before you watch it yourself. So, grab some popcorn, sit back, and let's get into it. First, let's quickly revisit what made the original Joker such a cultural phenomenon. Directed by Todd Phillips and starring the incredible Joaquin Phoenix, Joker in 2019 wasn't just another comic book movie. It was a deeply psychological and gritty character study of Arthur Fleck. His transformation into the Joker was chilling, grounded in realism, and sparked discussions around mental health, society's neglect of the marginalized, and the blurred lines between hero and villain. Joaquin's portrayal earned him an Academy Award, and it set a high bar for any potential sequel. Now, fast forward to 2024, and here we are with Joker, Folie à Deux. Does it live up to the original? That's the big question. So, without giving anything away, here's what you need to know about the plot of Folie à Deux. The title itself is French for madness of two, a term used in psychology to describe shared psychosis between two individuals. And that's a huge hint for where this movie is headed. While Joker focused solely on Arthur Fleck's downward spiral, Folie à Deux brings another major character into the spotlight, Harley Quinn, played by the amazing Lady Gaga. But don't go expecting this to be a love story in the traditional sense. Folie à Deux builds on the dark and twisted world we saw in the first film. This time, it's not just about Arthur's journey, it's about how two deeply troubled individuals come together in their shared madness. Gotham, once again, serves as the bleak, gritty backdrop where societal chaos looms ever-present. It's not a direct continuation of the first movie's events, but more of a thematic sequel that explores mental health, the consequences of trauma, and the idea of finding solace in chaos. The best part? While the movie keeps some elements of mystery, it dives deeper into Arthur's psyche in ways that are both thrilling and unsettling. If you enjoyed the psychological depth of the first film, you're in for a treat. Let's talk about the tone and visual style, because Folie à Deux has an identity of its own while staying true to the world Phillips created in 2019. The cinematography is breathtaking. Gotham still feels like this gritty, decaying city that mirrors the emotional turmoil of its characters. But what's fascinating is the slight shift in tone. While the first Joker felt grounded in reality, almost like a character drama set in a very real world, Folie à Deux leans a bit more into stylized, surreal elements. This may be due to the film's musical components. Yes, you heard that right. Joker, Folie à Deux, incorporates musical elements, but it's not in the way you'd expect. There are moments where the line between reality and Arthur's delusions blur even more, and these musical sequences are used to reflect his and Harley's mental state. Think of it as a kind of nightmare musical, dreamlike, chaotic and unsettling. The blend of drama, psychological thriller and music makes for a unique cinematic experience. Now, one of the biggest draws of this film is the performances. First, let's talk about Joaquin Phoenix. You might think that after winning an Oscar for Joker, there's nowhere left for him to take this character, but Phoenix proves once again why he's one of the best actors of our generation. His performance is raw, intense, and layered with so much complexity. Arthur Fleck's descent into madness continues, but it's done in a way that feels fresh. Phoenix doesn't just repeat his performance from the first film, he deepens it, adding more layers to Arthur's fractured psyche. You can feel every ounce of pain, confusion, and instability. Lady Gaga, as Harley Quinn, is another standout. She brings a completely different energy to the film compared to Margot Robbie's portrayal in previous DC films. Gaga's Harley is less about the chaotic fun and more about the tragic, broken person behind the mask. She matches Phoenix's intensity in every scene, and together, their chemistry is electric. You can feel the danger and unpredictability between them. I've got to say, Gaga's performance really surprised me. It's not just about her singing talents, which are, of course, woven into the musical elements of the film, but her ability to portray someone as complex and damaged as Harley. It's a different take, but one that fits perfectly within this darker, more serious universe. One of the most talked about aspects of Joker 2019 was Todd Phillips's bold direction, and in Folie à Deux, he pushes the envelope even further. Phillips, known for his more comedic background, once again proves that he can handle dark, psychological material with precision. The screenplay, co-written by Phillips and Scott Silver, doesn't shy away from uncomfortable themes. If you thought the first film was dark, Folie à Deux is even more unsettling. The writing digs deeper into mental illness, trauma, and the toxic dynamics of codependence. But what's remarkable is how Phillips balances the film's tone. It's heavy, yes, but it's not without moments of levity, often dark humor, of course. And the way the film transitions between reality and fantasy is seamless, keeping the audience constantly on edge. Now let's get into one of the most unique elements of this movie, the music. When I first heard that Joker Folie à Deux was going to have musical sequences, I wasn't sure how to feel about it. But let me tell you, it works. The musical numbers aren't your typical song and dance routines. They're surreal, emotional expressions of what's happening inside Arthur and Harley's minds. Lady Gaga's voice adds a haunting quality to the film, and the score, composed by Hilda Gudnadottir, is once again outstanding. The music is integrated into the film in a way that heightens the emotional intensity rather than breaking it. It's eerie, it's beautiful, and it's unlike anything we've seen in a comic book adaptation before. At its core, Joker Folie à Deux explores some heavy themes, just like the first movie, but where the original Joker dealt heavily with isolation, mental illness, and societal neglect, this sequel shifts its focus slightly to explore shared madness and toxic relationships. The idea of two broken people finding solace in each other's darkness is central to this film. It's about love, but in the most unhealthy, destructive way imaginable. So, what's the final verdict on Joker Folie à Deux? For me, this film is an incredibly bold follow-up to the first Joker. It doesn't just repeat the same formula, it takes risks, it pushes boundaries, and it dares to be different. It's darker, more psychological, and the inclusion of musical elements makes it stand out in a sea of superhero films. The performances from Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga are phenomenal. The direction is sharp, and the film's themes will leave you with plenty to think about. If you loved the first Joker for its depth and grit, you'll likely find this one just as compelling, though the added surrealism and music might not be. Subscribe our channel, and our next video is going to be on Lord of the Rings: Rings of Power.